Hi everybody, Sanbona and welcome to my channel. Do make sure that you are subscribed and also do like the video. So listen you guys, the saga Maki versus Minnie is not ending. Okay, it looks like it's not going to end anytime soon because of course if the South African courts are going to be involved, then it's going to last for the next 2 or 3 years, you guys, because we all know, you guys, that our justice system in South Africa takes its time. Okay, so listen you guys, I don't want to lie. When people started making some, noise about what Maki had said about Minnie, I thought, you know, what is new? Okay, because Maki had said many things that were unacceptable about women in the past, and people had made noise, and then something else comes up, and then they focus on other things and they forget about what Maki had said. And I felt like this is just one of those things. People are pretending to care, people are pretending to be upset about it, people are pretending to be angry, but nothing is going to happen. I was convinced about it, okay? I was like, nothing is going to happen. Maki is not going to get cancelled, okay? Because nobody can cancel Maki, no matter how unacceptable it is that he has said on his podcast. His podcast is going to grow even more. In fact, it did grow. It did grow after the whole thing happened. So I'm shocked by the fact that this time, for some reason, this time people were so fed up, that it's just not going away to a point where he is feeling like he needed to apologize, which is something that Maksha doesn't normally do. Okay, it's strange for him to even offer an apology. Not only did he apologize publicly, which people are not happy about because they are saying, listen, if you are being forced by your sponsors to apologize, it's not really genuine. Okay, and I'm like, but guys, then sometimes an apology is an apology, because you guys, sometimes somebody has to sit you down and say, listen, you've done something wrong here. Somebody has to make you see that you've done something wrong, for you to see that you've done something wrong, so that in the future you don't do this, you don't do something wrong. It's like when your parents sit you down and say, do you know why I'm about to give you, the lashes that I'm about to give to you, and you're like, no. And then they explain to you. Initially, you don't know why uzo shower, but then they explain to you, and then you're like, yeah, now I understand. And then miss your shower again. And then next time you don't do it. It's okay. So I don't know, you guys, but let's just read. There are two articles that have been written, you guys, about this whole thing. First, it's about the fact that Maki is saying to many, let's squash it. Okay, and then the second one, of course, it's a response from Minnie, because Minnie is like, listen, okay, it's a little too late. Okay, it's a little too late. I would let the legal system decide, okay, what's going to happen with you, because I'm not believing this apology that you are giving me, because he issued a public apology, but apparently he sent the lawyers as well to Minnie to sort of be like, I'm sorry, sis. But Winnie is not buying it. Okay, so this is what Times Live says. Okay, let's squash it. Maki issues an apology to Minnie. I want to extend an invite to Minnie Dlamini to the show. It's like, listen, I'm so sorry, come to my house, let's have coffee. No, okay, like if I was Minnie Lamini, I would be like, no. Okay. In a surprise turn of events, MacGyver MacG Mkwebo has issued an apology to media personally to Minnie Dlamini for his statement about her. The controversy began when MacG suggested the media personality's private part could have an unpleasant smell when discussing her breakup with plastic surgeon Dr. Brian Monaisa, questioning her ability to keep a man. Because guys, like, listen, as a woman, we just have to keep this man, okay? We have to keep him, okay? Even when he is not a good man, you must keep him, and get another one and keep them. That's why we have breasts. Some of them we have to keep them under the breast. Yes. and some of them under our arms. That's just how, as women, we are made. That's why sometimes we get fat with big stomachs and the stomach rolls, because all of the men that we meet, even if they are bad men and they don't serve us, the relationships don't serve us, but we have to keep the men, because when we don't keep these men, even when they are bad, they don't give us anything, they don't serve us, they are not good for our self-confidence, our self-esteem. We are still supposed to keep them, because if we get rid of them, it's us. We are the problem. So keep the man, okay? Don't break up with that man, that useless one that does not want to get a job. Don't get rid of him. Keep him. Keep it in one of your roles, okay? If you say you don't have a role, it's a problem. You need to get fed very, very quickly so that you have roles to keep these men. Because when we get rid of them, it's a problem. You know, Minnie Lamini has gotten rid of all of these men, but the problem is not the man, it's Minnie Lamini. Okay. So it says here on Monday during the recent episode of the podcast. Let me see. Okay. On Monday, during the recent episode of the podcast, and Chill McG's said he wanted to put an issue behind him and extend an olive branch. Okay, I want to apologize first and foremost to all the female chillers. Okay, so the chillers were more important than many in this instance. He said, and the women in general in SA. Okay, I might have offended with that comment. So basically, he's saying to the chillers, to the women of South Africa, and the world at large, okay? And Minnie is the last one, okay? That was not my intention. We never say things to offend people, okay? We just say offensive things, but those offensive things are not meant to offend people, okay? Because, guys, think about it. If I say your private part is smelling, I mean, I might just be saying it to charm you. You understand? The fact that I say your private part is smelly, it does not mean I'm offending you. Why are you offended? I'm just charming you. I'm trying to become friends with you. Sometimes you guys be throwing tantrums about nothing. I mean, that's what Maki is saying. He's saying we say offensive things, but when we say these things that are offensive, we are not saying them to offend you. We are just charming you. It's a compliment. Your private part might smell. And I didn't say it smells, I said it might. You understand what we are saying. You guys in Yamsugel and Jumakji, okay? I want to extend an invite to Minnie Lamini, even though it might smell, but she might come. She must come, You are more than welcome to come. This thing started on a podcast. Let's end it on podcast. She said, she said some things. I said some things. Let's squash it once and for all. Okay. Many people and organizations have condemned this behavior and criticized him for using offensive language towards women. A statement shared by Women for Change expressed concern over the harmful narratives promoted on the platform, which they believe perpetuates toxic masculinity, victim blaming, and blatant misogyny. Listen, you guys, this is just off the topic, just short left. Women for Change. Can people tell me one thing that Women for Change have done? Like a tangible thing that Women for Change have done, except just comment on stories that have to do with women? Do they do anything except comment to say, we agree, we don't agree, we agree, we don't agree? I'm just asking, I'm not fighting, okay? Just asking, is there anything that Women for Change has done except just say, we agree, we don't agree? You are wrong, you're not wrong. Is it a social media, Women for Change, is it a social media thing? Is it a social media movement? Or is it a real movement? They do something, like a woman is maybe at home attacked by their husband and they go there to help. I'm just asking, guys. And I'm serious, I'm being serious. Do they do something, or is just a social media thing where they wait for posts and someone has said something, they go and they say, we agree with you. No, we don't agree with you. I'm just wondering. What is Women for Change for? Okay. So after that, you guys, of course, Minnie Lamini got the letter from the lawyers. I don't know if it's the letter from the lawyers or the lawyers arranged for a meeting, whatever it is. And then she came back on her social media and she said, I will continue to pursue the legal recourse. Okay, Minnie Dlamini on McG's apology. Okay. The disturbing display of misogyny has yet again sparked outrage after McG's comments about Minnie went viral, highlighting the ongoing struggle for women to be treated with dignity and respect. This article is on Drum. The other one was Times Live, okay? It says here, the heated debates erupted online after McG and his co-host Sol Penduka made a controversial remark about Minnie Dlamini on his podcast, known for its unfiltered opinion podcast and Chill with McG. The comments centered around Minnie's past romantic relationship following her breakup with Dr. Brian, and many condemned the remarks as vile, degrading, and a reflection of toxic masculinity, and have since sparked a widespread criticism and calls for McG to take accountability. Sometimes we'll be using like complicated English. Sometimes like we just need like a few Zulu words to just describe the situation. We are delela lomfana, like end of story. You understand what I mean? Like we'll be complicating things like it's a misogynistic and a violent, degrading reflection of toxic masculinity. Cha, uyadelela nje lomfana. UMaG uyadelela. Uyabona leyo nto. Kwesinye isikhathi nje lomfana ufuna umise taxi rank nje umnike taxi driver badile naye ngemvubu. And then you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes the English is complicated into misogyny, a toxic masculinity, uyadelela nje umfana phela nje. The backlash against McG comments have been swift and vocal. Women for Change, a gender-based violence organization, has been at the forefront of criticism, labeling McG's remarks as unacceptable and calling for accountability from sponsors, streaming platforms, and the public. And that is not going to happen because when it comes to the streaming platforms and all of those other platforms, guys, it's all about money. McG makes these platforms a lot of money, okay? YouTube is not going to cancel McG because McG said a comment about, YouTube doesn't work like that, okay? Seemingly, the pressure put on McG to apologize worked, as he issued an apology to Minnie on recent episode of the podcast, stating that he feels like they are both said and distasteful things to each. They both have said distasteful things to each other during Minnie's visit to the podcast, and that they should now squash the beef. And the apology has been met with a lot of judgment, with Minnie saying it doesn't sound genuine and others siding with him. Minnie has been to the podcast. I don't remember that, but I guess I've missed it, okay? Minnie has issued a statement addressing the issue and is adamant on taking the legal action on McG, and said that she feels like the damage to her reputation has already been done and that McG's action were condescending, okay? The statement reads, let it be stated clearly that I have never made a negative comment or statement about this man. All I did was defend the dignity and integrity of a fellow woman in the industry against the vile, objectifying remarks made about her. This was a remark that was made about, when Chup was on the podcast and he was talking about, Amanda, what's the other lady that accused Chup? Yes, and Kelly Kumalo. Yes, that was around that time. Yes. You understand? Amanda Black, because I'm saying I'm Amanda Black, and not that one, the other one. Yes, the light skin one. So, Lana Umini. Over the past few weeks, I have watched in disbelief and deep pain. My name, body, and dignity were dragged through the mud of the public discourse, triggered by vile, humiliating, and inexcusable comments made by Mr. Mokwebo on the podcast. The fact that she still calls him Mr. Mokwebo. Okay. Let it be stated clearly that I have never made any negative comments or statements about this man. All I did was to defend the dignity, integrity, and of a fellow woman in the industry against the vile, objectifying remarks made against her. To think that standing up for another woman justifies years of lies online, harassment, and degrading commentary in my name is both cruel and revealing. This is not about ego. This is about a systematic misogyny. Okay, misogyny. Hey guys, magama esingisi. Okay, ngishilo ngathi kumele basho nje into eyodwa ukuthi uyadelela lo mfana lo. Udelela abantu besifazane. Uyabona nje siqede ngaye ngesiZulu. This thing ka McG is a thing to deal with in Zulu. You know, as Zulus must deal with McG and they must deal with it in Zulu. To deal with McG situation in English is not. It's a reason McG has lasted that long. It's because people are trying to deal with McG in English. If you deal with McG in English, it will end like that. It's the same as dealing with him in Venda, because half the Venda people speak English. That's a problem, and that problem, it's a problem that only can be handled in Zulu. That is my recommendation. It should be handled in Zulu. Further recommendations would be to hand it over to the taxi drivers. But okay, do you ever listen to my recommendations? Never ever. While I have chosen not to dignify the specifics with the response, I must emphasize that there is nothing entertaining or provocative about weaponizing a woman's body for clout, commenting, or so-called content. What occurred was not banter. It was grotesque and deeply harmful violation of my dignity and humanity and my constitutional right as a woman. I have received an apology from a podcast and chill via their lawyers. Okay, so the lawyers did contact her. An apology offered only after the damage is done and the reputations are online is not meaningful, and accountability, especially when it comes from a platform that has made misogyny part of their brand. This was not a lapse in judgment. It was a reflection of values consistently displayed and defended by the show and its host. Okay. To apologize now only when the public pleasure threatens their image is the center of their own reputation damage rather than trauma. Rather than the trauma. Okay. This is it's very long. Okay. Trauma afflicted to others. And so I must clearly say words without the genuine accountabilities are hollow. I will continue to pursue legal recourse because as a public figure and a mother, I must act now only for myself, but not only for myself, but for every woman whose dignity is violated in the name of the content and entertainment. To everyone who has offered support, stood beside me and raised their voices, ngiyabonga. Your solidarity has been a source of strength and reminder that this is not just about me. It is about every woman who has been publicly degraded digitally and humiliated and silenced through shame. This moment has once again spotlighted a disturbing normalization of misogyny in entertainment industry and online platforms. We need systematic change, we need accountability, and we must all decide what kind of a public discourse we will be willing to defend or dismantle. At the end of the day, I am a mother, a daughter, and a sister. This entire episode has caused harm, and not only to me, but to those closest to me, innocent people. It is said, okay, no, I'm that said, okay, I will not allow this to pass without consequences because it is not just about my name, it is about protecting the dignity of all women everywhere. And since I can afford to pay the lawyers, I am going to pursue this in court. No, she did not say that. I'm just thinking she's saying that because if she couldn't afford the lawyers, she wouldn't do it. Mina, I would have said I accept the apology because I can't afford the lawyers. But she can afford the lawyers. So she is pursuing this legally. Let me tell you something. when she was when before she posted this, you know who she sent this to Unat, because this English here sounds like Unat. Listen to it. This moment has once again spotlighted the disturbing normalization of misogyny in the entertainment industry and online platform. We need a systematic change, we need accountability, and we must all decide what kind of public discourse we are willing to defend and dismantle. Doesn't that sound like Unat? Sound like Unat. So, guys, listen. I support Umini Dlamini going to court, okay? Because she can afford the lawyers. If she could afford to take care of that husband of hers, she can afford the lawyers, okay? And I support her, okay? Because if you said that my private parts smell, you have to provide the proof. The problem is, it depends what part, like what time of the day it is. Okay, sometimes all private parts smell at sometime during the day. All private parts smell, depending on when you took the bath. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know what McG meant. Okay, because even his wives would smell at some point during the day. Okay, if she bathed in the morning, okay, by 2 o'clock it smells. You understand? So in a way, umfana loyana nje uyabheda. You understand what I mean? But ke umfana nomini bazohlangana ekhona. Like I said, guys, this is a problem that should be handled in Zulu. But ke umini is choosing to handle it in English there by the court. And hopefully they will have a Zulu interpreter so that all of us understand exactly what's going on the day that they go to court. You understand? And I'm sure Unato will be there to add her English. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like it before Pumegona, share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers.